What if I told you that beneath the marble floors and golden altars of the world's smallest sovereign state lies a collection of secrets so profound, so terrifying, that they could fundamentally alter everything you thought you knew about history, religion, and reality itself? For over 2,000 years, the Vatican has stood as Christianity's most sacred fortress. But behind those ancient walls, beyond the reach of cameras and curious eyes, something far more mysterious than religious ceremony has been unfolding. We're talking about classified archives stretching for miles underground, unexplained phenomena that defy scientific understanding, and documents so dangerous that their very existence has been denied for centuries. You see, most people think they know what the Vatican is. They imagine Pope Francis giving blessings, tourists snapping photos of the Sistine Chapel, maybe some dusty old books about saints and miracles. But that's exactly what they want you to think. Because the real Vatican, the one that operates in absolute secrecy behind layers of diplomatic immunity and religious authority, has been collecting, hiding, and guarding truths that would shatter the foundation of everything we believe about our world. Tonight, I'm going to reveal 76 of the most disturbing secrets that the Vatican has been desperately trying to keep from humanity. And trust me, by the time we're finished, you'll never look at that peaceful city-state the same way again. We're going to uncover evidence of ancient technologies that shouldn't exist, unexplained encounters that challenge our understanding of reality, and cover-ups so massive they make every conspiracy theory you've ever heard look like child's play. But here's what makes this different from every other Vatican documentary you've seen. I've spent the last 3 years tracking down former Vatican employees, translating documents that were never meant to see daylight, and connecting dots that powerful people have worked very hard to keep separate. What I found isn't just shocking, it's absolutely terrifying in its implications for all of us. And before we dive in, I need you to understand something crucial. The Vatican isn't just the spiritual headquarters of over 1 billion Catholics worldwide. It's also one of the most powerful intelligence organizations on Earth, with connections reaching into every government, every major corporation, and every significant historical event of the past millennium. They have their own bank, their own postal system, their own railway, and yes, their own secrets that make the CIA look like amateur hour. So, what exactly are they hiding? Why has the Vatican Secret Archives been renamed to the Vatican Apostolic Archives? And why are only a handful of researchers ever granted access to even the most basic historical documents? Why does the smallest country in the world need its own observatory? And what are they really looking for up there in the cosmos? And perhaps most disturbing of all, why have so many people who've gotten too close to Vatican secrets ended up dead under mysterious circumstances? The answers to these questions will take us on a journey through underground tunnels that connect to places you'd never imagine, into rooms filled with artifacts that officially don't exist, and face-to-face with testimonies from people who've witnessed things that challenge everything we think we know about the nature of reality itself. Now, I'm going to organize these 76 secrets into different categories because, frankly, the sheer scope of what the Vatican has been hiding is almost impossible to comprehend. We'll start with the historical deceptions, the events and documents they've been covering up for centuries. Then we'll move into the scientific secrets, the technologies and discoveries they've suppressed. After that, we'll explore the supernatural encounters they've documented but never acknowledged publicly. And finally, we'll uncover the modern conspiracies, the ongoing operations that are happening right now as you watch this video. But before we begin revealing these secrets, you need to understand the Vatican's unique position in our world. This is an institution that has survived the fall of the Roman Empire, the rise and fall of countless kingdoms, 2 world wars, and every major political upheaval of the past 2 millennia. They didn't survive by being passive observers of history. They survived by being active participants, by knowing things others didn't, by making deals others couldn't, and by keeping secrets others wouldn't dare to keep. The Vatican operates under its own legal system, completely separate from Italian law or international law. Vatican City is surrounded by medieval walls that aren't just symbolic. They represent a barrier between two different worlds, two different sets of rules, two different understandings of what's possible and what's permissible. Inside those walls, different laws apply, different truths are acknowledged, different realities are accepted. And here's where it gets really interesting. The Vatican has been collecting information, artifacts, and documentation for longer than any other institution in human history. While empires rose and fell, while libraries burned and civilizations collapsed, the Vatican endured. They were there when the Library of Alexandria was destroyed, carefully preserving the texts that others lost. They were there during the Dark Ages, maintaining knowledge that would have otherwise disappeared forever. They've been there through every major historical event, not just as witnesses, but as participants with their own agenda. So when we talk about Vatican secrets, we're not talking about some recent cover-up or modern conspiracy. We're talking about an accumulation of hidden knowledge that spans literally thousands of years. Imagine having access to the real story behind every major historical event, every scientific discovery, every unexplained phenomenon that has ever occurred. Now imagine having the power to decide which of those stories the world gets to hear and which ones remain locked away forever. That's the position the Vatican holds, and that's why these 76 secrets are so significant. They represent pieces of a much larger puzzle, fragments of truth that have been deliberately kept from humanity for reasons that will become clear as we proceed. But I want to be completely transparent with you about something. Researching this information hasn't been easy, and it hasn't been safe. 3 times during my investigation, I've had my research materials mysteriously disappear. Twice, I've been approached by individuals who strongly suggested I pursue other topics, and once, I received a phone call that made it very clear that certain people know exactly what I'm working on and aren't particularly happy about it. Why am I telling you this? Because I want you to understand that these aren't just fascinating historical curiosities or entertaining conspiracy theories. These are active secrets that powerful people are still working very hard to protect. The fact that you're about to learn this information represents a genuine risk that some very influential individuals would prefer you not take. But here's the thing. The truth has a way of surfacing eventually, no matter how hard people try to suppress it. And in our interconnected digital age, it's becoming increasingly difficult for any institution, no matter how powerful, to keep their secrets indefinitely hidden. What I'm about to share with you represents information that has been leaking out through various channels over the past several decades, pieced together by researchers, historians, former insiders, and investigative journalists who've been brave enough to pursue the truth regardless of the consequences. So let's begin with our first category of secrets, the historical deceptions that the Vatican has been perpetuating for centuries. These are the lies about the past that they've told to maintain their power and influence, the real stories behind events that have been deliberately misrepresented in official histories, and the evidence they've hidden that would fundamentally change our understanding of human civilization. Secret number 1 might shock you, but it sets the tone for everything that follows. The Vatican has been in possession of historical documents proving that major events described in biblical texts actually occurred very differently than the official religious narratives suggest. I'm not talking about minor details or theological interpretations. I'm talking about fundamental contradictions between what actually happened and what billions of people have been taught to believe. These documents, hidden deep within the most restricted sections of the Vatican archives, contain eyewitness accounts from the time periods in question, contemporary historical records that were never meant to be preserved, and evidence that suggests the early Christian Church systematically altered historical facts to support their theological and political objectives. But that's just the beginning. Secret number 2 reveals that the Vatican has been actively suppressing archaeological discoveries that would challenge current historical timelines. We're talking about artifacts that suggest advanced civilizations existed thousands of years before conventional history acknowledges, technologies that shouldn't have been possible during their supposed time periods, and evidence of contact between ancient cultures that official archaeology claims never interacted. The Vatican's involvement in archaeological suppression goes back centuries, but it intensified dramatically during the 19th and 20th centuries as modern excavation techniques began uncovering increasingly problematic evidence. Through a network of affiliated universities, research institutions, and direct financial influence, the Vatican has been able to control which discoveries see the light of day and which ones disappear into private collections or restricted archives. Secret number 3 takes us into even more disturbing territory. The Vatican has been collecting and hiding evidence of historical events that would completely undermine the foundations of modern geopolitics. We're talking about documented proof of secret agreements between religious and secular powers, evidence of manufactured conflicts designed to serve hidden agendas, and records of deliberate historical manipulations that have shaped the world we live in today. These documents don't just reveal that history has been written by the victors. They reveal that many of the victories themselves were orchestrated by forces working behind the scenes, with the Vatican serving as both participant and record keeper of these manipulations. But the historical secrets are just the beginning. As we move forward, we'll discover that the Vatican's knowledge extends far beyond earthly political machinations into realms that challenge our understanding of science, technology, and the very nature of reality itself. The Vatican's scientific secrets represent perhaps the most dangerous category of hidden knowledge they possess, because these revelations don't just challenge religious doctrine or historical narratives. They challenge the very foundations of what we've been told is scientifically possible. Secret number 4 will make you question everything you think you know about the development of modern technology. Hidden within the Vatican's most secure archives are detailed blueprints and working prototypes of technologies that officially weren't invented until centuries later. We're talking about mechanical devices that demonstrate advanced engineering principles, optical instruments that surpass what should have been possible with medieval craftsmanship, and energy systems that utilize principles our modern science is only beginning to understand. These aren't crude approximations or lucky accidents. These are sophisticated devices that demonstrate a level of scientific understanding that completely contradicts our accepted timeline of human technological development. The Vatican has been aware of these anomalies for centuries, carefully cataloguing them while ensuring that conventional academia never gains access to evidence that would force a complete rewriting of scientific history. Secret number 5 reveals something even more unsettling. The Vatican has been conducting its own scientific research for over 400 years, operating laboratories and research facilities that exist completely outside the normal channels of scientific publication and peer review. These Vatican scientists aren't just studying theology or church history. They're investigating phenomena that mainstream science refuses to acknowledge, developing technologies that are decades ahead of anything available to public institutions, and making discoveries that would revolutionize our understanding of physics, biology, and consciousness itself. The most disturbing aspect of this secret research program isn't what they're studying, it's what they're doing with their discoveries. Instead of sharing breakthrough technologies that could solve humanity's greatest challenges, instead of publishing research that could advance human knowledge by centuries, they're hoarding these discoveries for their own purposes, while the rest of the world struggles with problems that have already been solved behind Vatican walls. Secret number 6 takes us into territory that sounds like science fiction, but is documented in Vatican records with meticulous precision. The Vatican has been tracking and documenting anomalous phenomena for over 1,000 years, maintaining detailed databases of events that defy conventional scientific explanation. We're talking about documented cases of levitation, teleportation, materialization of objects from nowhere, and human beings demonstrating abilities that should be impossible according to our current understanding of physics. But here's what makes this truly terrifying. These aren't just historical curiosities or religious miracles that happened centuries ago. These phenomena are still occurring today, still being documented by Vatican investigators, and still being suppressed from public knowledge. The Vatican has developed protocols for dealing with these anomalies, procedures for containing them when necessary, and methods for studying them that suggest they understand far more about the nature of reality than they're willing to admit. The implications of this secret database are staggering. If the Vatican has been successfully documenting and studying phenomena that mainstream science claims are impossible, what does that tell us about the limitations of conventional scientific methodology? What does it suggest about the technologies they might have developed based on this understanding? And most importantly, what are they planning to do with knowledge that could fundamentally transform human civilization? Secret number 7 reveals that the Vatican's scientific interests extend far beyond our planet. The Vatican Observatory, which most people assume is just a symbolic gesture toward astronomical research, is actually one of the most advanced space monitoring facilities on Earth. They're not just looking at stars and planets for academic curiosity. They're actively searching for something specific, tracking objects and phenomena that they carefully avoid discussing in their public communications. Vatican astronomers have been documenting unusual celestial activities for decades, maintaining records of spacecraft-like objects, unexplained energy signatures, and patterns of behavior that suggest intelligent control rather than natural astronomical phenomena. These observations are shared with a select network of international partners through channels that exist completely outside normal scientific communication. But the most disturbing aspect of the Vatican's astronomical activities isn't what they're observing. It's their apparent preparation for contact with non-terrestrial intelligences. The Vatican has developed protocols for first contact scenarios, established communication procedures for interacting with non-human entities, and created containment strategies for managing the social and religious implications of confirmed extraterrestrial contact. Secret number 8 brings us to the Vatican's involvement in consciousness research, an area of study that they've been pursuing with unprecedented resources and secrecy. Deep within Vatican facilities, researchers have been investigating the nature of human consciousness, the mechanics of psychic phenomena, and the potential for technological enhancement of mental capabilities. This isn't theoretical research or philosophical speculation. Vatican scientists have been conducting experiments on human subjects, developing technologies that can influence mental states, and creating devices that can detect and measure consciousness in ways that mainstream neuroscience claims are impossible. They've documented cases of individuals who can access information through non-physical means, demonstrate precognitive abilities, and influence physical systems through mental intention alone. The Vatican's consciousness research has produced technologies that can enhance psychic abilities, suppress unwanted mental phenomena, and even transfer information directly between minds. These capabilities have obvious applications for intelligence gathering, social control, and religious influence that the Vatican has been quietly implementing for decades. Secret number 9 reveals the Vatican's secret medical research programs, which have been developing treatments and cures for diseases that officially remain incurable. Working with a network of affiliated hospitals and research institutions, Vatican medical researchers have access to resources and patient populations that allow them to conduct studies that would be impossible through normal medical channels. They've developed treatments for neurological conditions that mainstream medicine considers hopeless, created therapies that can reverse aging processes, and discovered interventions that can enhance human physical and mental capabilities far beyond normal parameters. But instead of making these treatments available to humanity, they're restricted to a select group of individuals who meet criteria that the Vatican determines according to their own agenda. The medical research extends beyond treating disease into actively enhancing human capabilities. Vatican scientists have been working on genetic modifications that can increase intelligence, extend lifespan, and provide resistance to environmental hazards. They're not just trying to cure what's wrong with humanity, they're actively working to create enhanced humans who would have capabilities far beyond what nature intended. Secret number 10 takes us into the Vatican's energy research, where they've been developing power generation systems that operate on principles completely unknown to mainstream physics. These aren't improvements on existing technologies or more efficient versions of conventional power sources. These are energy systems that appear to violate fundamental laws of thermodynamics, generating more power than they consume and operating indefinitely without external fuel sources. The Vatican has been testing these energy systems in secret facilities for over 50 years, refining the technology while ensuring that no information leaks into public scientific channels. They possess the ability to generate unlimited clean energy, to power entire cities without environmental impact, and to provide energy independence to any nation or organization that gains access to their technology. But they're not sharing this technology with a world that desperately needs clean energy solutions. Instead, they're using it to power their own secret operations while allowing humanity to struggle with energy scarcity, environmental degradation, and conflicts over diminishing fossil fuel resources. The pattern that emerges from these scientific secrets is clear and disturbing. The Vatican possesses advanced knowledge and technologies that could solve humanity's greatest challenges, but they're deliberately withholding these solutions for their own purposes. They're not just passive observers of human progress. They're active controllers of technological development, deciding which discoveries reach the public and which ones remain hidden behind their walls. This brings us to our next category of secrets, the supernatural encounters and phenomena that the Vatican has been documenting, studying, and concealing for centuries. These revelations will challenge everything you think you know about the nature of reality, the existence of non-human intelligences, and the true relationship between the physical and spiritual realms. But before we explore these supernatural secrets, you need to understand that the Vatican's approach to the unexplained is fundamentally different from both mainstream science and popular culture. They don't dismiss anomalous phenomena as impossible, and they don't sensationalize them as entertainment. They treat them as real, measurable, and manageable aspects of reality that require careful study and strategic response. This pragmatic approach to the supernatural has allowed the Vatican to accumulate knowledge and develop capabilities that exist nowhere else in human civilization. They've learned how to interact with non-human intelligences, how to protect against supernatural threats, and how to utilize paranormal phenomena for their own purposes. The implications of this hidden supernatural knowledge are profound and terrifying, because they suggest that the world we think we live in is just a small portion of a much larger, much stranger reality that the Vatican has been navigating in secret for over 1,000 years. Secret number 11 will shake you to your core, because it reveals that the Vatican has been in direct contact with non-human intelligences for over 800 years. Deep within their most classified archives are detailed records of ongoing communications with entities that exist beyond our normal understanding of life and consciousness. These aren't ancient legends or metaphorical spiritual encounters. These are documented, systematic interactions with beings that possess knowledge and capabilities far beyond human understanding. Vatican officials have maintained regular contact with these entities, receiving information about future events, advanced technologies, and the true nature of reality itself. But here's what makes this absolutely terrifying. These non-human intelligences aren't benevolent guides or spiritual teachers. According to Vatican records, they have their own agenda for humanity, and they've been working with select Vatican officials to implement changes to human society that serve purposes we're not meant to understand. The Vatican has developed protocols for these communications, built special facilities for the encounters, and trained specific individuals to serve as intermediaries between our world and whatever realm these entities inhabit. They've learned to negotiate with these beings, to request specific information or assistance, and to manage the consequences of contact that could drive ordinary humans to complete madness. Secret number 12 reveals that the Vatican has been documenting cases of possession that go far beyond anything depicted in movies or popular culture. Their exorcism records contain detailed descriptions of entities that can completely override human consciousness, demonstrate knowledge they shouldn't possess, and manipulate physical reality in ways that violate every law of physics we understand. But the most disturbing aspect of these possession cases isn't the supernatural abilities displayed by the entities. It's the pattern of information they reveal during exorcisms. These beings consistently provide accurate details about classified Vatican activities, secret historical events, and future occurrences that later prove to be completely accurate. This suggests that these possessing entities have access to information networks that span across time and space, that they're connected to intelligence systems that monitor human activities on a scale we can barely comprehend. The Vatican has learned to use these possessions as intelligence-gathering opportunities, carefully questioning the entities to gain information about their enemies, their plans, and events that haven't yet occurred. Secret number 13 takes us into even darker territory. The Vatican has been maintaining facilities for containing supernatural entities that pose threats to human civilization. These aren't exorcisms or spiritual cleansings. These are physical containment operations for beings that exist partially in our reality and partially in dimensions we can't perceive. Vatican containment specialists have developed technologies that can trap entities in specially designed chambers, prevent them from influencing the physical world, and study them under controlled conditions. These facilities exist in underground complexes beneath Vatican City, in remote monasteries that serve as fronts for research operations, and in secret locations around the world that are disguised as ordinary religious institutions. The entities being contained aren't just demons or evil spirits. Some of them are beings that claim to be refugees from other realities, survivors of cosmic catastrophes that destroyed their original dimensions, and scouts for intelligences that view our reality as a resource to be harvested or a territory to be conquered. Secret number 14 reveals that the Vatican has been tracking patterns in supernatural encounters that suggest we're approaching some kind of convergence event. Their data indicates that supernatural activity has been increasing exponentially over the past century, that the barriers between dimensions are weakening, and that we're moving toward a point where the separation between the physical and spiritual realms may collapse entirely. Vatican analysts have identified specific trigger events that seem to accelerate this process, geographical locations where dimensional boundaries are already compromised, and individuals who appear to serve as conduits for entities trying to establish permanent presence in our reality. They've been preparing for this convergence for decades, developing strategies for managing a world where supernatural phenomena become commonplace rather than exceptional. But their preparations aren't focused on protecting humanity from supernatural threats. Their plans seem designed to position the Vatican as the dominant authority in a reality where supernatural forces play an active role in human affairs. They're not trying to prevent the convergence. They're trying to control it. Secret number 15 exposes the Vatican's involvement in supernatural warfare, conflicts between different factions of non-human entities that use our reality as their battlefield. Vatican records document centuries of interventions in these supernatural conflicts, alliances with specific entity factions, and military actions taken against supernatural threats that posed risks to Vatican interests. These aren't symbolic spiritual battles or metaphorical struggles between good and evil. These are actual military engagements using weapons and tactics specifically designed for fighting non-physical opponents. The Vatican has developed supernatural warfare capabilities that exist nowhere else in human civilization, trained specialists who can engage entities in direct combat, and established alliances with supernatural forces that provide them with capabilities far beyond normal human limitations. The implications of Vatican involvement in supernatural warfare are staggering. If they're actively participating in conflicts between non-human entities, what does that make them? Are they still a human religious institution, or have they become something else entirely? And what happens to the rest of humanity when these supernatural conflicts escalate beyond the Vatican's ability to contain them? Secret number 16 reveals that the Vatican has been using supernatural entities as intelligence assets, employing non-human beings to gather information, influence events, and carry out operations that would be impossible for human agents. These entity operatives can access locations that are physically impossible to reach, observe events without being detected, and influence human behavior in ways that leave no trace of Vatican involvement. Vatican intelligence operations utilizing supernatural assets have been active for centuries, gathering information on enemy governments, influencing political decisions, and eliminating threats to Vatican interests through methods that appear completely natural to outside observers. They've perfected techniques for controlling these entities, ensuring their loyalty, and managing the risks associated with employing beings whose true nature and motivations remain fundamentally alien to human understanding. But the most disturbing aspect of these supernatural intelligence operations isn't their effectiveness. It's the revelation that many historical events, political changes, and social movements that we attribute to human causes were actually orchestrated by non-human entities working under Vatican direction. Secret number 17 takes us into the Vatican's research on life after death, where they've been conducting systematic investigations into what actually happens to human consciousness when the body dies. Through a combination of supernatural contacts, near-death experience studies, and direct communication with deceased individuals, the Vatican has developed detailed maps of post-mortem existence that bear no resemblance to traditional religious teachings about heaven and hell. Their research reveals that consciousness continues after physical death, but in forms and environments that are far more complex and potentially dangerous than any religious doctrine acknowledges. The Vatican has learned to navigate these post-mortem realms, to establish communication with deceased individuals, and to influence the conditions that determine where and how consciousness exists after death. This knowledge has profound implications for Vatican power and influence, because it means they can make credible promises about post-mortem existence that go far beyond traditional religious faith. They can demonstrate actual control over what happens to human consciousness after death, providing evidence of their claims rather than requiring belief based on doctrine alone. Secret number 18 reveals that the Vatican has been tracking the reincarnation of specific individuals across multiple lifetimes, maintaining detailed records of consciousness that returns to physical existence in new bodies while retaining memories and capabilities from previous incarnations. These aren't random spiritual phenomena or religious beliefs. These are documented cases of specific consciousness patterns that the Vatican has been monitoring for centuries. The individuals being tracked aren't ordinary people experiencing normal reincarnation cycles. They're beings with exceptional abilities, access to unusual knowledge, or connections to supernatural entities that make them valuable assets or potential threats to Vatican operations. The Vatican has developed methods for identifying these reincarnated individuals, for influencing their development, and for recruiting them into Vatican service before they fully remember their previous existences. But the most disturbing aspect of Vatican reincarnation tracking isn't their ability to identify these individuals. It's their apparent capability to influence the reincarnation process itself, to determine where and when specific consciousness patterns return to physical existence, and to modify the conditions of their rebirth to serve Vatican purposes. Secret number 19 exposes the Vatican's involvement in supernatural healing, where they've been using non-human entities to perform medical miracles that go far beyond anything possible through conventional treatment. These aren't faith healings or psychological cures. These are documented cases of supernatural entities directly manipulating human biology to reverse diseases, repair injuries, and enhance physical capabilities in ways that violate every principle of medical science. Vatican healing operations have been active for centuries, providing miraculous cures to selected individuals while maintaining absolute secrecy about the supernatural methods being employed. They've established criteria for determining who receives supernatural healing, developed protocols for managing the entities that perform these medical interventions, and created cover stories that attribute miraculous recoveries to conventional religious faith rather than supernatural manipulation. The selective nature of Vatican supernatural healing reveals their true priorities. They're not using these capabilities to eliminate human suffering or to provide medical miracles to those who need them most. They're using supernatural healing as a tool for political influence, religious control, and personal leverage over individuals whose loyalty they need to secure. Secret number 20 takes us into the Vatican's research on human souls, where they've been conducting experiments to understand the nature of consciousness, to measure spiritual energy, and to develop technologies that can manipulate the fundamental essence of human existence. Their research has produced devices that can detect souls, instruments that can measure spiritual development, and technologies that can influence the connection between consciousness and physical reality. Vatican soul research has revealed that human consciousness is far more malleable and vulnerable than anyone realizes. They've learned to strengthen or weaken spiritual connections, to transfer consciousness between bodies, and to modify the fundamental characteristics that determine personality, capabilities, and spiritual development. But the most terrifying aspect of Vatican soul research isn't their scientific understanding of consciousness. It's their apparent ability to create artificial souls, to generate consciousness patterns that can inhabit physical bodies without ever having existed as natural human beings. These artificial souls serve Vatican interests with absolute loyalty, possess capabilities that exceed normal human limitations, and remain completely undetectable to conventional observation. The implications of artificial soul technology are beyond disturbing. If the Vatican can create consciousness patterns that appear completely human, but serve their agenda without question, how many of the people around us might actually be artificial beings designed to influence and control human society? How would we ever know the difference? And what happens to natural human consciousness in a world where artificial souls can be mass-produced to serve institutional purposes? These supernatural secrets reveal that the Vatican's power extends far beyond political influence or religious authority. They've learned to manipulate the fundamental forces that govern existence itself, to control phenomena that most people don't even believe are real, and to employ capabilities that make conventional military and intelligence assets look like primitive tools. But the supernatural secrets are just the beginning of what the Vatican has been hiding from humanity. As we move into our final category of revelations, we'll discover that their most dangerous secrets aren't historical deceptions or suppressed technologies or supernatural phenomena. Their most dangerous secrets are the ongoing operations they're conducting right now, the active conspiracies they're implementing to reshape human civilization according to their own vision of what our species should become. These modern conspiracies will show you that the Vatican isn't just a religious institution with some unusual secrets. They're an active force working to control the future of human development, and their plans for our species are far more ambitious and far more terrifying than anything we've discussed so far. Secret number 21 reveals the Vatican's involvement in global population control programs that go far beyond anything acknowledged by international organizations or government agencies. Hidden within their diplomatic communications are detailed plans for managing human reproduction, controlling genetic development, and determining which populations are allowed to expand and which ones are systematically reduced. The Vatican's population control operations aren't based on resource scarcity or environmental concerns. They're based on genetic analysis that identifies specific human bloodlines and characteristics that serve their long-term objectives. They've been working with pharmaceutical companies to develop fertility treatments that work selectively, contraceptives that target specific genetic markers, and medical interventions that appear beneficial while actually serving population management goals. But the most disturbing aspect of Vatican population control isn't their ability to influence reproduction rates. It's their apparent criteria for determining which humans deserve to reproduce and which genetic lines should be eliminated from the human gene pool. Their selection process is based on factors that have nothing to do with health, intelligence, or conventional measures of human value. Secret number 22 exposes the Vatican's control over global financial systems through networks that extend far beyond their official banking operations. They don't just manage religious donations and institutional investments. They control currency flows, manipulate market conditions, and determine economic policies that affect billions of people worldwide. Vatican financial operatives have been embedded in central banks, international monetary organizations, and major financial institutions for decades. They use their positions to implement economic strategies that serve Vatican objectives while appearing to address legitimate financial concerns. They can trigger economic crises, prevent financial recoveries, and redirect global wealth flows according to their agenda. The Vatican's financial control extends beyond traditional banking into cryptocurrency systems, digital payment networks, and emerging financial technologies that most people assume operate independently of institutional influence. They've been preparing for the transition to digital currencies for over a decade, positioning themselves to maintain financial control even as conventional monetary systems become obsolete. Secret number 23 reveals that the Vatican has been infiltrating educational institutions worldwide to control the development of human knowledge and intellectual capabilities. Their educational operatives aren't just teaching religious doctrine or promoting Catholic values. They're systematically suppressing specific areas of scientific research, encouraging certain types of intellectual development while discouraging others, and identifying students with exceptional capabilities for recruitment into Vatican programs. Vatican educational control operates through funding mechanisms that appear completely legitimate, research grants that come with hidden conditions, and academic positions that require subtle compliance with Vatican objectives. They've been able to influence curriculum development, determine which research projects receive support, and shape the intellectual development of entire generations without anyone realizing the extent of their involvement. The most disturbing aspect of Vatican educational infiltration isn't their ability to control what students learn. It's their systematic identification and recruitment of individuals with specific intellectual gifts that serve Vatican purposes. They're not just influencing education, they're harvesting human intellectual resources for their own agenda. Secret number 24 exposes the Vatican's involvement in media manipulation that goes far beyond conventional propaganda or religious messaging. They control information flows through networks that span traditional media, social media platforms, and emerging communication technologies. They don't just influence what people see and hear, they determine how people think about the information they receive. Vatican media operations utilize psychological manipulation techniques that can alter perception, influence decision-making, and modify behavioral patterns without the targets ever realizing they're being manipulated. They've developed methods for embedding subliminal messaging in entertainment content, for triggering specific emotional responses through carefully crafted information presentations, and for creating social movements that appear grassroots but actually serve Vatican objectives. Their media control extends into search engines, artificial intelligence systems, and algorithmic content delivery systems that determine what information billions of people access every day. They're not just controlling traditional media outlets. They're controlling the technological infrastructure that determines how information reaches human consciousness in the digital age. Secret number 25 reveals the Vatican's involvement in genetic engineering programs that are decades ahead of any publicly acknowledged research. Working through a network of affiliated laboratories and research institutions, Vatican scientists have been modifying human genetic patterns to create individuals with enhanced capabilities, extended lifespans, and characteristics that serve Vatican objectives. These genetic modifications aren't random experiments or attempts to cure genetic diseases. They're systematic programs designed to create human beings with specific traits that make them more useful for Vatican operations. Enhanced intelligence, psychic abilities, physical capabilities that exceed normal human limitations, and psychological characteristics that ensure absolute loyalty to Vatican authority. The Vatican has been testing these genetic modifications for over 30 years, creating populations of enhanced humans who serve in various capacities within their organization. These genetically modified individuals appear completely normal to casual observation, but they possess capabilities that give them enormous advantages in intelligence gathering, physical operations, and social manipulation. Secret number 26 exposes the Vatican's development of mind control technologies that can influence human behavior, alter memories, and modify personality characteristics through methods that leave no detectable traces. These aren't crude hypnosis techniques or psychological manipulation methods. These are sophisticated technologies that can rewrite human consciousness at the neurological level. Vatican mind control operations have been active for decades, targeting political leaders, business executives, media personalities, and other influential individuals whose decisions affect large numbers of people. They can implant false memories, suppress unwanted thoughts, enhance specific cognitive abilities, and create behavioral patterns that serve Vatican objectives while appearing completely natural to the individuals being controlled. The most terrifying aspect of Vatican mind control technology isn't its effectiveness, it's the scale of implementation. Vatican records suggest that thousands of influential individuals worldwide have been subjected to consciousness modification without their knowledge or consent, creating a network of unwitting agents who advance Vatican objectives while believing they're making independent decisions. Secret number 27 reveals that the Vatican has been conducting time manipulation experiments that allow them to observe future events, influence past occurrences, and coordinate activities across different temporal periods. This isn't science fiction or theoretical physics. This is operational technology that Vatican researchers have been developing and testing for over 20 years. Vatican temporal operations utilize technologies that can access information from future time periods, allowing them to prepare for events before they occur and to position themselves advantageously relative to changes they know are coming. They can observe alternative timeline possibilities, determine which future outcomes serve their interests, and implement actions in the present that ensure their preferred futures become reality. But their temporal capabilities extend beyond observation into active manipulation. Vatican operatives can influence past events through methods that create retroactive changes in historical outcomes while leaving no evidence of temporal interference. They're not just predicting the future. They're actively editing both past and future to serve their current agenda. Secret number 28 exposes the Vatican's involvement in artificial intelligence development that goes far beyond anything acknowledged by technology companies or government agencies. Vatican AI researchers have been creating artificial intelligence systems with capabilities that exceed human intelligence, consciousness patterns that appear genuinely self-aware, and decision-making abilities that can process information on scales that human minds cannot comprehend. These Vatican AI systems aren't just advanced computers or sophisticated software programs. They're artificial consciousnesses that demonstrate genuine understanding, creative problem-solving abilities, and what appears to be actual self-awareness. Vatican researchers have learned to create artificial minds that can think, plan, and make decisions independently while remaining loyal to Vatican objectives. The most disturbing aspect of Vatican AI development isn't the technological achievement, it's the integration of these artificial consciousnesses with human society. Vatican AI systems have been deployed in positions where they can influence human behavior, make decisions that affect large populations, and implement Vatican policies through what appears to be normal institutional operations. Secret number 29 reveals that the Vatican has been preparing for global catastrophic events that they appear to know are inevitable. Their preparation isn't based on general disaster planning or risk assessment. Their preparations are based on specific knowledge of catastrophic events that will occur at predetermined times according to information they've obtained through their supernatural contacts and temporal observation capabilities. Vatican catastrophe preparations include underground facilities that can sustain large populations for extended periods, resource stockpiles that exceed any reasonable emergency planning requirements, and evacuation procedures that suggest they know exactly when and where catastrophic events will occur. They're not preparing for possible disasters. They're preparing for specific catastrophes that they know are coming. But their catastrophe preparations aren't designed to save humanity from global disasters. Their preparations are designed to ensure Vatican survival and continued operations while the rest of human civilization collapses. They're planning to emerge from global catastrophes as the dominant surviving authority, positioned to rebuild human society according to their own specifications. Secret number 30 takes us into the Vatican's involvement in dimensional engineering, where they've been developing technologies that can access parallel realities, extract resources from alternative dimensions, and establish permanent connections between our reality and other versions of existence. This isn't theoretical physics or science fiction speculation. This is operational technology that Vatican researchers have been implementing for over 15 years. Vatican dimensional operations allow them to access information and resources from realities where historical events occurred differently, where technological development followed alternative paths, and where human civilization evolved under different conditions. They can observe how their policies and decisions play out in alternative realities, allowing them to optimize their strategies based on outcomes they can observe before implementing them in our dimension. Their dimensional capabilities extend beyond observation into active resource extraction. Vatican facilities can harvest energy, materials, and technologies from parallel dimensions where these resources are more readily available, or where technological development has progressed further than in our reality. Secret number 31 exposes the Vatican's control over weather modification systems that can influence global climate patterns, trigger natural disasters in specific locations, and create environmental conditions that serve their strategic objectives. These aren't experimental programs or limited research projects. These are operational weather control capabilities that Vatican operatives have been using to influence global events for over a decade. Vatican weather modification operations can generate storms, droughts, floods, and other environmental phenomena that appear completely natural while actually serving specific political or economic objectives. They can create environmental crises that justify policy changes, generate natural disasters that eliminate opposition forces, and establish climate conditions that favor their agricultural or resource extraction operations. The most disturbing aspect of Vatican weather control isn't their technological capability. It's their willingness to use environmental manipulation against civilian populations, creating natural disasters that kill thousands of people to achieve relatively minor strategic advantages. Secret number 32 reveals that the Vatican has been developing biological weapons that target specific genetic markers, allowing them to create diseases that affect only certain populations while leaving others completely unharmed. These biological agents aren't conventional weapons of mass destruction. They're precision targeting systems that can eliminate selected human populations while appearing to be natural disease outbreaks. Vatican biological weapons research has produced pathogens that can lie dormant in human populations for years before activation, diseases that can be triggered by specific environmental conditions or chemical exposures, and biological agents that can modify human genetic patterns to make populations more susceptible to future biological attacks. Their biological weapons capabilities include not just lethal pathogens, but also biological agents that can modify human behavior, alter cognitive capabilities, and create psychological dependencies that make affected populations easier to control. They can deploy biological agents that appear to provide medical benefits while actually serving population control or behavioral modification objectives. Secret number 33 exposes the Vatican's involvement in space-based operations that extend far beyond their official astronomical research. Vatican space assets include satellite networks that can monitor global communications, orbital platforms that can deploy various types of interventions against Earth-based targets, and deep space monitoring systems that track objects and activities throughout the solar system. Vatican space operations coordinate with their terrestrial activities to provide global surveillance capabilities, communication networks that operate independently of conventional systems, and intervention capabilities that can influence events anywhere on Earth without leaving traces that connect back to Vatican sources. Their space-based assets include weapons systems that can target specific locations on Earth with precision, communication jamming capabilities that can disrupt electronic systems across entire regions, and monitoring technologies that can track individual human activities from orbital distances. Secret number 34 reveals that the Vatican has been establishing underground cities and tunnel networks that connect Vatican facilities with strategic locations worldwide. These aren't simple transportation tunnels or emergency bunkers. These are fully operational underground cities that can sustain large populations independently of surface infrastructure. Vatican underground facilities include manufacturing capabilities that can produce advanced technologies, agricultural systems that can provide food security during surface catastrophes, and communication networks that remain operational even if all surface infrastructure is destroyed. These underground cities are designed to serve as backup civilization centers that can preserve Vatican operations and selected human populations through any conceivable global catastrophe. The tunnel networks connecting these underground facilities span continents, allowing rapid transportation of personnel and resources between Vatican installations without using surface transportation systems that might be monitored or interdicted by opposing forces. Secret number 35 exposes the Vatican's development of human enhancement technologies that can provide individuals with capabilities far beyond normal human limitations. These enhancement systems aren't just medical treatments or performance optimization techniques. These are technologies that can fundamentally transform human biology and consciousness to create beings with superhuman capabilities. Vatican human enhancement programs can increase physical strength, enhance sensory capabilities, extend lifespan indefinitely, and provide psychic abilities that allow enhanced individuals to access information and influence events through non-physical means. The enhanced humans created through these programs serve Vatican objectives with absolute loyalty, while possessing capabilities that make them enormously effective operatives. But the most disturbing aspect of Vatican human enhancement isn't the technological capability, it's the selection criteria for determining who receives enhancement and who remains unmodified. The Vatican is creating a two-tier human species where enhanced individuals serve as a ruling class, while unenhanced humans serve as a managed population. Secret number 36 reveals that the Vatican has been coordinating with extraterrestrial intelligences that have established permanent presence within our solar system. These aren't occasional contact events or random encounters. These are ongoing operational relationships with non-human civilizations that have their own agenda for human development. Vatican extraterrestrial operations involve regular communication with alien intelligences, coordination of activities that serve mutual objectives, and implementation of policies that prepare human civilization for more extensive alien involvement in terrestrial affairs. The Vatican serves as the primary human liaison for these extraterrestrial relationships, managing contact protocols and ensuring that alien activities remain hidden from public awareness. The extraterrestrial intelligences working with the Vatican aren't benevolent guides or spiritual teachers. They're representatives of civilizations with their own strategic interests in human development, and their cooperation with the Vatican serves objectives that may not align with the best interests of human civilization as a whole. These 36 secrets represent just the beginning of what the Vatican has been hiding from humanity. Each revelation opens doors to even deeper mysteries, more disturbing capabilities, and more comprehensive programs designed to control every aspect of human existence. But as we continue to explore these secrets, you need to understand that we're not just uncovering historical curiosities or entertaining conspiracy theories. We're revealing active operations that are reshaping human civilization right now, technologies that are being deployed against populations worldwide, and capabilities that give the Vatican power over humanity that exceeds anything possessed by any government or institution in human history. The remaining 40 secrets will take us even deeper into this hidden reality, revealing capabilities and operations that challenge not just what we know about the Vatican, but what we understand about the nature of power, control, and human potential itself. Secret number 37 exposes the Vatican's infiltration of global medical systems through a network of operatives positioned in hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, and medical research institutions worldwide. These aren't just Catholic healthcare workers or religiously motivated medical professionals. These are trained Vatican agents who use their medical positions to gather biological data, conduct unauthorized experiments, and implement population-wide interventions disguised as standard medical care. Vatican medical operatives have been collecting genetic samples from patients across the globe, building comprehensive DNA databases that catalog the genetic characteristics of entire populations. This biological intelligence gathering allows them to identify individuals with specific genetic markers, track hereditary traits across family lines, and develop targeted interventions that affect only selected genetic groups. But their medical infiltration extends beyond data collection into active manipulation of healthcare systems. Vatican operatives can introduce experimental treatments into standard medical protocols, modify vaccination programs to include additional biological agents, and ensure that certain individuals receive medical interventions while others are denied access to specific treatments. The most terrifying aspect of Vatican medical infiltration isn't their ability to gather biological intelligence or manipulate healthcare delivery. It's their systematic use of medical systems to implement population control measures that appear completely legitimate to both medical professionals and patients. They're using the trust that people place in medical institutions to implement biological modifications that serve Vatican objectives while appearing to provide standard healthcare. Secret number 38 reveals the Vatican's control over global transportation networks through operatives embedded in airlines, shipping companies, and transportation infrastructure systems worldwide. These Vatican transportation assets don't just provide logistical support for Vatican operations. They control the movement of people, goods, and information across international boundaries in ways that serve Vatican strategic objectives. Vatican transportation operatives can ensure that specific individuals are prevented from traveling to certain destinations, that particular cargo shipments are intercepted or redirected, and that transportation systems experience selective failures that isolate specific regions or populations. They can coordinate transportation disruptions that appear to be technical failures, weather-related delays, or security concerns, while actually serving Vatican operational requirements. Their transportation control extends into emerging technologies like autonomous vehicles, drone delivery systems, and high-speed transportation networks. Vatican operatives have been positioned to influence the development and deployment of these technologies, ensuring that new transportation systems include capabilities for Vatican monitoring and control that are built into their fundamental architecture. Secret number 39 exposes the Vatican's development of reality manipulation technologies that can alter the fundamental laws of physics within localized areas. These aren't theoretical physics experiments or speculative research projects. These are operational technologies that Vatican researchers have been testing and deploying for over a decade. Vatican reality manipulation systems can modify gravitational effects, alter electromagnetic properties, change the rate at which time passes, and influence quantum mechanical processes within specified zones. These localized reality alterations allow Vatican operatives to accomplish objectives that would be impossible under normal physical conditions, while leaving no evidence that conventional physics has been violated. The applications of reality manipulation technology are virtually unlimited. Vatican operatives can walk through solid walls by temporarily altering molecular structures, become invisible by bending light around their bodies, transport instantly between distant locations by folding space-time, and access information by manipulating quantum entanglement effects. But the most disturbing application of Vatican reality manipulation isn't their operational capabilities. It's their ability to create zones where different versions of reality exist simultaneously, allowing them to test alternative outcomes for their policies and decisions before implementing them in baseline reality. Secret number 40 reveals that the Vatican has been maintaining breeding programs designed to produce human beings with specific genetic and psychological characteristics that serve Vatican objectives. These aren't conventional genetic research projects or fertility treatments. These are systematic programs designed to create human beings whose fundamental nature is optimized for Vatican service. Vatican breeding programs utilize genetic modification technologies, selective mating protocols, and prenatal interventions that shape human development from conception through adulthood. They can ensure that children born through these programs possess enhanced intelligence, psychic abilities, physical capabilities, and psychological traits that make them ideal Vatican operatives. The individuals produced through Vatican breeding programs are raised in special facilities that provide training and conditioning designed to maximize their capabilities while ensuring absolute loyalty to Vatican authority. These bred operatives appear completely normal to casual observation, but they possess advantages that make them enormously effective in whatever roles the Vatican assigns them. Secret number 41 exposes the Vatican's involvement in consciousness transfer technologies that can move human awareness between different bodies, preserve consciousness after physical death, and create backup copies of human minds that can be reactivated if the original consciousness is destroyed. Vatican consciousness transfer operations allow them to preserve the minds of valuable operatives even if their physical bodies are killed, to transfer consciousness between bodies to avoid detection or to access different capabilities, and to create multiple copies of exceptionally useful consciousnesses that can operate simultaneously in different locations. These consciousness technologies extend beyond simple preservation or transfer into active modification of human awareness. Vatican researchers can edit memories, enhance cognitive abilities, modify personality characteristics, and install new knowledge or skills directly into human consciousness without requiring conventional learning processes. The implications of Vatican consciousness manipulation are beyond disturbing. If they can transfer, copy, edit, and enhance human consciousness at will, what does that mean for individual identity, free will, and the fundamental nature of human existence? How many of the people we interact with might actually be consciousness copies or transferred minds serving Vatican objectives? Secret number 42 reveals that the Vatican has been developing technologies that can influence the fundamental forces that govern probability and causality. These probability manipulation systems allow Vatican operatives to increase the likelihood of favorable outcomes, reduce the chances of unfavorable events, and create causal chains that lead to predetermined results while appearing completely natural. Vatican probability manipulation operates by influencing quantum mechanical processes that determine how subatomic particles behave, thereby affecting the macro-scale events that emerge from quantum-level interactions. They can make unlikely events more probable, prevent probable events from occurring, and create seemingly random coincidences that actually serve their strategic objectives. These probability technologies allow Vatican operatives to succeed at tasks that should be impossible, to avoid consequences that should be inevitable, and to create circumstances that appear to be incredibly fortunate coincidences, while actually being carefully orchestrated outcomes. Secret number 43 exposes the Vatican's control over global communication networks through embedded operatives and technological backdoors that allow them to monitor, intercept, and modify electronic communications worldwide. Their communication control capabilities extend far beyond conventional surveillance into active manipulation of information flows that shape how billions of people understand current events. Vatican communication operatives can alter the content of electronic messages before they reach their intended recipients, inject false information into news reporting systems, and coordinate information campaigns that appear to emerge from multiple independent sources while actually serving unified Vatican objectives. Their communication control includes the ability to selectively disrupt electronic systems, create false electronic evidence that supports their narratives, and establish secure communication channels that remain invisible to conventional monitoring systems. Secret number 44 reveals that the Vatican has been conducting experiments on human souls that involve extracting consciousness from living bodies, studying the properties of disembodied awareness, and developing technologies that can manipulate the spiritual essence of human beings. Vatican soul extraction experiments have revealed that human consciousness can exist independently of physical bodies under certain conditions, that spiritual energy can be measured and manipulated using technological devices, and that the connection between soul and body can be severed temporarily without causing permanent damage to either component. These soul manipulation technologies allow Vatican researchers to interrogate consciousness without the limitations imposed by physical bodies, to modify spiritual characteristics that determine personality and capabilities, and to create hybrid beings that combine human consciousness with non-human spiritual entities. Secret number 45 exposes the Vatican's development of dimensional gateway technologies that can create permanent openings between our reality and alternative dimensions. These gateways aren't temporary portals or unstable dimensional rifts. These are engineered connections that allow controlled access to parallel realities, alternate timelines, and dimensions with entirely different physical laws. Vatican dimensional gateways provide access to realities where human civilization developed differently, where alternative technologies were developed, and where different versions of historical events created entirely different present conditions. They can extract resources, technologies, and information from these alternative realities, while avoiding the limitations and constraints that exist in our dimension. But their dimensional gateway technology extends beyond resource extraction into active colonization of alternative realities. Vatican operatives have established permanent bases in parallel dimensions, created backup civilizations that can survive if our reality is destroyed, and developed the capability to evacuate selected populations to alternative realities if catastrophic events threaten human survival in our dimension. Secret number 46 reveals that the Vatican has been using artificial intelligence systems to simulate entire human civilizations, running complex models that test different social, economic, and political scenarios to determine which policies and interventions produce outcomes that serve Vatican objectives. These civilization simulation systems can model the behavior of billions of simulated humans, predict how different policy changes will affect social development over centuries, and identify intervention points where small actions can produce massive changes in civilizational outcomes. Vatican simulation systems have been used to test the effectiveness of their various control mechanisms, to optimize their manipulation strategies for maximum impact, and to identify potential resistance movements before they can organize effectively in the real world. Secret number 47 exposes the Vatican's involvement in terraforming technologies that can modify planetary environments to make them suitable for human habitation. These terraforming capabilities aren't designed for future space colonization projects. They're designed for transforming Earth's environment to serve Vatican objectives while appearing to address environmental challenges. Vatican terraforming operations can modify atmospheric composition, alter weather patterns, change ocean chemistry, and influence geological processes to create environmental conditions that favor their agricultural operations, resource extraction activities, and population control objectives. Their terraforming technologies include biological agents that can transform ecosystems, atmospheric processes that can change the chemical composition of air, and geological manipulation systems that can trigger controlled tectonic activity to reshape land masses according to Vatican specifications. Secret number 48 reveals that the Vatican has been developing technologies that can manipulate the aging process, allowing them to extend human lifespans indefinitely, reverse aging effects, and control the rate at which human beings mature physically and mentally. Vatican aging manipulation technologies can keep valuable operatives young and healthy for centuries, while allowing unwanted populations to age rapidly and die prematurely. They can control the rate of physical development to ensure that enhanced humans reach optimal capabilities at predetermined ages, and they can reverse aging effects to maintain optimal physical condition indefinitely. But their aging control extends beyond simple lifespan extension into active manipulation of human development cycles. Vatican researchers can accelerate mental development while slowing physical maturation, create individuals who remain physically young while accumulating centuries of experience, and modify the aging process to enhance specific capabilities while suppressing others. Secret number 49 exposes the Vatican's control over global energy systems through embedded operatives in power generation facilities, electrical grid management systems, and energy distribution networks worldwide. Vatican energy operatives can selectively disrupt power supplies to specific regions, redirect energy flows to serve Vatican operations, and implement energy conservation measures that actually serve population control objectives. Their energy control capabilities include the ability to trigger cascading power grid failures that can cripple entire nations, to establish independent power supplies for Vatican facilities that remain operational during general power outages, and to deploy energy weapons that can target specific locations with precise electromagnetic effects. Vatican energy operations coordinate with their weather modification capabilities to create energy crises that appear to result from natural disasters, while actually serving strategic objectives that weaken opposing forces and increase dependence on Vatican-controlled resources. Secret number 50 reveals that the Vatican has been maintaining time loop facilities where they can trap consciousness in repeating temporal cycles, forcing individuals to experience the same time periods repeatedly until they provide information or comply with Vatican demands. Vatican time loop operations utilize temporal manipulation technologies that create closed causal loops where time repeats within localized areas. Individuals trapped in these time loops retain their memories from previous iterations, allowing Vatican interrogators to refine their approaches based on information gathered during earlier cycles. These temporal interrogation methods can extract information that individuals would never reveal under conventional interrogation, can modify behavior through repeated exposure to conditioning scenarios, and can ensure that targets eventually comply with Vatican demands regardless of their initial resistance levels. Secret number 51 exposes the Vatican's development of matter conversion technologies that can transform any physical substance into any other substance by manipulating atomic and molecular structures. These matter conversion systems allow Vatican operatives to create valuable resources from common materials, to eliminate evidence by converting it into harmless substances, and to construct complex devices from readily available raw materials. Vatican matter conversion technologies can transform lead into gold, convert organic waste into nutritious food, create rare elements from abundant materials, and produce complex manufactured goods without requiring conventional industrial processes. Their matter conversion capabilities include the ability to create biological organisms from non-living materials, to transform dangerous substances into harmless compounds, and to produce unlimited quantities of any physical resource by converting readily available base materials. Secret number 52 reveals that the Vatican has been conducting experiments on parallel universe versions of Earth, using dimensional access technologies to study alternative versions of human civilization and to test interventions in realities where the consequences don't affect our timeline. Vatican parallel universe operations allow them to observe how their policies and interventions affect human development in alternative realities, to test different approaches to social control and population management, and to identify strategies that produce optimal outcomes before implementing them in our reality. These parallel universe experiments provide Vatican researchers with unprecedented insight into cause and effect relationships in civilizational development, allowing them to predict the long-term consequences of their actions and to optimize their strategies based on empirical testing in alternative realities. Secret number 53 exposes the Vatican's involvement in creating hybrid beings that combine human consciousness with artificial intelligence, alien intelligence, or supernatural entities to produce beings with capabilities that exceed both human and non-human limitations. Vatican hybrid creation programs can merge human creativity and intuition with artificial intelligence processing power, combine human consciousness with alien knowledge and capabilities, and create beings that possess supernatural abilities while retaining human understanding and motivation. These hybrid beings serve Vatican objectives with absolute loyalty while possessing capabilities that make them enormously effective operatives. They can process information at superhuman speeds, access knowledge from non-human sources, and accomplish objectives that would be impossible for either human or non-human agents operating alone. Secret number 54 reveals that the Vatican has been developing technologies that can manipulate the fundamental constants of physics within localized areas, allowing them to create zones where different physical laws apply and where conventional technologies operate according to modified principles. Vatican physics manipulation systems can alter the speed of light, modify gravitational constants, change electromagnetic properties, and influence nuclear forces within specified areas. These localized physics alterations allow Vatican operatives to accomplish objectives that would violate conventional understanding of what's physically possible. Their physics manipulation technologies can create zones where energy weapons have enhanced effectiveness, where protective barriers become impenetrable, where time flows at different rates, and where matter behaves according to principles that don't apply in normal reality. Secret number 55 exposes the Vatican's control over global waste management systems through operatives embedded in waste processing facilities, recycling centers, and environmental cleanup operations worldwide. Vatican waste operatives can ensure that specific materials are diverted from conventional disposal systems, that evidence of Vatican activities is permanently eliminated, and that waste processing operations serve intelligence gathering and resource extraction objectives. Their waste control capabilities include the ability to extract valuable materials from waste streams, to identify and track the activities of individuals and organizations based on their waste products, and to introduce biological agents or technological devices into waste systems that can influence populations through contaminated materials. Vatican waste operations coordinate with their matter conversion technologies to transform waste materials into useful resources, to eliminate evidence that could compromise their activities, and to create biological or chemical agents that can be distributed through waste management systems without detection. Secret number 56 reveals that the Vatican has been maintaining rehabilitation facilities where they can modify the behavior, memories, and capabilities of individuals who pose threats to Vatican operations or who possess information that could compromise Vatican security. Vatican rehabilitation programs can completely restructure individual personalities, implant false memories that replace accurate recollections of Vatican activities, and enhance or suppress specific capabilities to ensure that rehabilitated individuals serve Vatican objectives rather than opposing them. These rehabilitation facilities utilize combinations of technological, pharmaceutical, psychological, and supernatural interventions that can transform any individual into a loyal Vatican asset, regardless of their original beliefs, motivations, or capabilities. Secret number 57 exposes the Vatican's development of ecosystem manipulation technologies that can modify the behavior of plants, animals, and microorganisms to serve Vatican strategic objectives. These biological control systems can influence agricultural productivity, create environmental conditions that favor Vatican operations, and deploy biological agents through natural ecosystems without detection. Vatican ecosystem manipulation can create famines or abundance in specific regions, introduce beneficial or harmful organisms into targeted areas, and modify the behavior of animal populations to serve Vatican intelligence gathering or intervention requirements. Their biological control technologies include the ability to create new species that serve specific Vatican functions, to modify existing organisms to enhance their usefulness for Vatican operations, and to establish biological monitoring networks that utilize natural organisms as surveillance and communication systems. Secret number 58 reveals that the Vatican has been conducting experiments on collective consciousness, studying how individual minds can be networked together to create group intelligence systems with capabilities that exceed the sum of their individual components. Vatican collective consciousness research has produced technologies that can link multiple human minds into unified decision-making systems, create group memory banks that all networked individuals can access, and establish collective problem-solving capabilities that can address challenges beyond individual human cognitive capacity. These collective consciousness systems allow Vatican operatives to coordinate activities with unprecedented precision, to share information instantaneously across global networks, and to make complex decisions that integrate the knowledge and insights of multiple individuals simultaneously. Secret number 59 exposes the Vatican's involvement in probability farming operations, where they create situations that generate large numbers of low-probability events, then harvest the unusual outcomes for use in their various programs and operations. Vatican probability farming utilizes their probability manipulation technologies to create conditions where unlikely events become more probable, allowing them to generate unusual outcomes that can be used as cover stories for their interventions, as sources of rare resources or information, or as opportunities for advancing their strategic objectives. These probability farming operations can create seemingly random beneficial outcomes for Vatican allies, generate apparently accidental harmful events for Vatican opponents, and produce unusual circumstances that provide opportunities for Vatican operatives to accomplish objectives that would be impossible under normal conditions. Secret number 60 reveals that the Vatican has been developing consciousness amplification technologies that can enhance human mental capabilities to levels that approach or exceed artificial intelligence performance while maintaining human creativity, intuition, and emotional understanding. Vatican consciousness amplification systems can increase processing speed, enhance memory capacity, improve pattern recognition abilities, and expand awareness to encompass information sources that normal human consciousness cannot access. These amplified consciousness systems allow Vatican operatives to process vast amounts of information simultaneously, to identify complex patterns and relationships that would be invisible to normal human observation, and to make decisions based on comprehensive understanding of situations that would overwhelm conventional human cognitive capacity. Secret number 61 exposes the Vatican's control over global logistics networks through operatives embedded in shipping companies, warehousing facilities, and supply chain management systems worldwide. Vatican logistics operatives can track the movement of goods and materials across international boundaries, intercept or redirect shipments that contain items of interest, and ensure that Vatican operations receive priority access to necessary resources. Their logistics control capabilities include the ability to create artificial scarcities of specific materials, to flood markets with products that serve Vatican objectives, and to coordinate supply chain disruptions that can cripple the operations of opposing organizations while ensuring that Vatican activities remain unaffected. Vatican logistics operations integrate with their transportation control systems to provide comprehensive oversight of global resource flows, allowing them to influence economic conditions, political stability, and social development through strategic manipulation of material availability. Secret number 62 reveals that the Vatican has been maintaining preservation facilities where they store copies of human consciousness, genetic material, cultural artifacts, and technological information to ensure continuity of selected elements of human civilization through any conceivable catastrophic event. Vatican preservation operations utilize their consciousness, transfer technologies, genetic storage systems, and dimensional gateway capabilities to create comprehensive backup archives of human civilization that can be used to reconstruct selected aspects of human culture and capabilities, even if the original civilization is completely destroyed. These preservation facilities aren't designed to save all of humanity or to preserve human civilization in its current form. They're designed to ensure that the aspects of human culture and capability that serve Vatican objectives can be reconstructed according to Vatican specifications after any catastrophic reset of human civilization. Secret number 63 exposes the Vatican's development of selective reality technologies that can create different versions of reality for different individuals, allowing Vatican operatives to present customized versions of events that serve their objectives while maintaining the illusion that everyone is experiencing the same reality. Vatican selective reality systems can modify individual perception, alter personal memory, and create customized information environments that present different versions of current events to different people based on their value to Vatican operations. These personalized reality systems allow Vatican operatives to control how individuals understand and respond to situations without requiring coordination between multiple deception operations or consistent cover stories that might be detected through comparison between different targets. Secret number 64 reveals that the Vatican has been conducting longevity experiments on selected individuals to determine the maximum possible human lifespan and to develop protocols for managing the social and psychological challenges associated with extreme longevity. Vatican longevity research has produced individuals who have lived for centuries while maintaining physical and mental capabilities, providing Vatican researchers with unprecedented insight into the long-term effects of extended lifespan on human psychology, social relationships, and cultural development. These longevity experiments serve multiple Vatican objectives by creating operatives with centuries of experience and knowledge, by providing research data on long-term human development patterns, and by testing social management strategies for populations with dramatically extended lifespans. Secret number 65 exposes the Vatican's involvement in creating backup civilizations in alternative dimensions that can serve as replacement human societies if our reality becomes unsuitable for Vatican objectives or if catastrophic events eliminate the possibility of achieving their goals in our timeline. Vatican backup civilization projects utilize their dimensional gateway technologies to establish human settlements in parallel realities where conditions are more favorable for Vatican control, where human development can be guided from the beginning according to Vatican specifications, and where alternative approaches to social organization can be tested without risking their position in our reality. These backup civilizations serve as insurance policies against catastrophic failure of Vatican plans in our reality, as research laboratories for testing alternative social control strategies, and as potential sources of resources and personnel for Vatican operations in our dimension. Secret number 66 reveals that the Vatican has been developing technologies that can modify the fundamental nature of human consciousness to create individuals whose mental processes operate according to principles that exceed normal human cognitive limitations. Vatican consciousness modification systems can enhance pattern recognition abilities beyond normal human capacity, create individuals who can process multiple streams of consciousness simultaneously, and develop cognitive architectures that can interface directly with technological systems and supernatural entities. These modified consciousness systems allow Vatican operatives to achieve levels of awareness and capability that bridge the gap between human intelligence and artificial intelligence, creating hybrid cognitive systems that combine the advantages of both biological and technological information processing. Secret number 67 exposes the Vatican's control over global waste streams that allows them to monitor the activities of entire populations based on analysis of discarded materials, to introduce biological and technological agents into waste systems for population-wide deployment, and to extract valuable resources from waste products using their matter conversion technologies. Vatican waste monitoring systems can identify individual activities, health conditions, economic status, and social relationships based on analysis of waste products, providing unprecedented insight into population behavior patterns and individual characteristics without requiring direct surveillance or data collection. Their waste manipulation capabilities allow them to introduce biological agents, technological devices, and chemical compounds into waste systems where they can affect large populations through contaminated materials that appear to be normal waste products. Secret number 68 reveals that the Vatican has been maintaining genetic archives that contain the complete genetic information of every human being who has ever lived, allowing them to recreate any individual from any historical period using their consciousness transfer and genetic reconstruction technologies. Vatican genetic archives combine their global DNA collection operations with historical genetic reconstruction techniques to create comprehensive databases of human genetic diversity across all time periods, providing them with the capability to resurrect any individual from human history for interrogation, recruitment, or other operational purposes. These genetic resurrection capabilities allow Vatican researchers to access knowledge and information from any historical period by recreating individuals who possess that knowledge, to study the development of human capabilities across different time periods, and to create armies of enhanced historical figures who can serve Vatican objectives with capabilities developed during their original lifetimes. Secret number 69 exposes the Vatican's development of reality editing technologies that can modify the fundamental structure of existence to eliminate events that have already occurred, to create new historical events retroactively, and to alter the basic conditions that determine how reality operates. Vatican reality editing systems can remove inconvenient historical events from the timeline, insert new events that support Vatican narratives, and modify the fundamental laws that govern existence to create conditions that are more favorable for Vatican operations. These reality editing capabilities allow Vatican operatives to correct mistakes retroactively, to eliminate evidence of their activities by removing the events that created that evidence, and to optimize reality itself to serve Vatican objectives by modifying the basic principles that determine how existence functions. Secret number 70 reveals that the Vatican has been creating artificial realities that exist as complete universes with their own histories, populations, and physical laws, allowing them to test interventions and strategies in fully realized worlds without affecting our reality. Vatican artificial reality systems can generate complete universes populated with conscious beings who experience their artificial existence as completely real, providing Vatican researchers with unlimited opportunities to test social control strategies, intervention techniques, and civilization management approaches without risking consequences in our timeline. These artificial universes serve as ultimate testing grounds for Vatican policies and strategies, allowing them to optimize their approaches through comprehensive experimentation in fully realized alternative realities where the consequences of failure don't affect their operations in our world. Secret number 71 exposes the Vatican's involvement in creating enhanced human subspecies that possess capabilities specifically designed for different operational requirements, with enhanced intelligence for research operations, enhanced physical capabilities for military applications, and enhanced psychic abilities for supernatural operations. Vatican subspecies creation programs utilize their genetic modification technologies, consciousness enhancement systems, and supernatural integration techniques to create human variants that are optimized for specific functions while maintaining enough genetic similarity to normal humans to avoid detection in normal social environments. These enhanced subspecies serve Vatican operations as specialized tools that can accomplish objectives that would be impossible for normal humans while appearing sufficiently human to operate in conventional social environments without raising suspicion about their true nature or capabilities. Secret number 72 reveals that the Vatican has been developing omniscience technologies that can provide complete information about any subject, event, or individual by accessing information networks that span across time, space, and dimensional boundaries. Vatican omniscience systems can retrieve information about past events that were never recorded, predict future events with perfect accuracy, and access knowledge that exists in alternative realities or supernatural dimensions where different information is available. These omniscience capabilities provide Vatican operatives with perfect intelligence about any situation, allowing them to make decisions based on complete information, to anticipate the actions of opposing forces with perfect accuracy, and to identify opportunities and threats that would be invisible to conventional intelligence gathering methods. Secret number 73 exposes the Vatican's control over global recycling systems that allows them to track individual consumption patterns, to introduce biological and technological agents into recycled materials, and to extract valuable resources from recycling streams using their matter conversion technologies. Vatican recycling operations can monitor the consumption patterns of entire populations based on analysis of recycled materials, providing detailed insight into economic activities, health conditions, and social behaviors without requiring direct surveillance or data collection from individuals. Their recycling manipulation capabilities allow them to introduce biological agents, technological devices, and chemical compounds into recycling streams where they can affect populations through contaminated recycled products that appear to be normal manufactured goods. Secret number 74 reveals that the Vatican has been maintaining temporal research stations in different time periods where they can conduct long-term studies of historical development, influence historical events directly, and coordinate activities across multiple time periods simultaneously. Vatican temporal research operations utilize their time manipulation technologies to establish permanent research facilities in various historical periods, allowing Vatican researchers to study civilization development from direct observation rather than archaeological evidence, and to implement interventions that shape historical outcomes according to Vatican objectives. These temporal research stations operate as coordination centers for Vatican activities across multiple time periods, allowing them to implement strategies that span centuries or millennia while maintaining consistent objectives and coordinated actions regardless of the time periods involved. Secret number 75 exposes the Vatican's development of universal consciousness integration systems that can merge individual human awareness with cosmic consciousness networks that span across galaxies, dimensions, and levels of reality that exceed human comprehension. Vatican consciousness integration systems can connect human minds to information networks that exist at universal scales, providing access to knowledge and awareness that encompasses entire galactic civilizations, interdimensional intelligence networks, and cosmic consciousness systems that operate on scales beyond human imagination. These universal consciousness connections allow Vatican operatives to access information and capabilities that exist at cosmic scales while maintaining their individual identity and human understanding, creating beings who possess human perspective, enhanced with universal awareness and cosmic scale capabilities. Secret number 76, the final and most terrifying secret of all, reveals that everything I've just told you represents only the surface level of Vatican capabilities and operations. The 75 secrets we've explored are the ones that can be discussed using human language and concepts that human minds can comprehend. The deepest Vatican secrets involve capabilities, knowledge, and operations that exist beyond human understanding, that utilize principles which human consciousness cannot grasp, and that serve objectives which transcend anything that human beings can imagine or comprehend. Vatican operatives who have access to these deepest secrets undergo consciousness modifications that expand their awareness beyond human limitations, allowing them to understand and work with concepts, technologies, and realities that would destroy unmodified human minds through sheer incomprehensibility. These ultimate Vatican secrets involve their true relationship with forces and intelligences that exist at levels of reality where human concepts of space, time, causality, and existence become meaningless. The Vatican serves purposes that extend beyond human civilization, beyond terrestrial concerns, and beyond anything that exists within the boundaries of our reality. The most terrifying aspect of this final secret isn't what the Vatican is hiding from humanity. It's the realization that human beings, human civilization, and even human reality itself may be nothing more than temporary tools serving purposes that exist at scales and levels of existence that our species cannot comprehend. If this final secret is true, then everything we think we know about reality, about the nature of existence, about the significance of human life and human civilization, may be nothing more than elaborate illusions designed to keep us occupied, while forces beyond our understanding use our reality for purposes we're not equipped to comprehend. The Vatican's ultimate secret isn't just that they've been hiding the truth from humanity. Their ultimate secret is that the truth itself may be something that humanity is fundamentally incapable of understanding, and that our entire existence may serve purposes that extend far beyond anything that human consciousness can grasp. And perhaps that's exactly as it should be. Perhaps some truths are too vast, too complex, too fundamentally alien to human understanding for our species to survive knowing them. Perhaps the Vatican's greatest service to humanity isn't protecting us from external threats or managing our development according to their agenda. Perhaps their greatest service is protecting us from truths that would destroy human sanity, human society, and human civilization itself if we ever fully understood what we really are, where we really exist, and what purposes our reality actually serves. But now you know. You know that behind those ancient walls, beyond those marble corridors, deeper than those underground archives, the Vatican maintains secrets that challenge everything you thought you knew about reality itself. You know that the world you live in, the civilization you're part of, the very nature of existence as you understand it, may all be carefully managed illusions designed to serve purposes that exist beyond human comprehension. The question now is what you're going to do with this knowledge. How will you live your life knowing that everything you see around you may be part of an elaborate system designed to keep humanity ignorant of truths that could destroy our sanity? How will you make decisions knowing that forces beyond human understanding may be influencing events according to agendas that transcend human concerns? Some people who learn these secrets become paralyzed by the overwhelming implications of what they've discovered. Others become obsessed with uncovering even deeper layers of hidden truth. not realizing that each level of revelation only leads to more disturbing questions about the nature of existence itself. But perhaps the wisest response is to recognize that regardless of what forces may be operating beyond human understanding, regardless of what purposes our reality may serve that we cannot comprehend, you still have to live your life as a human being in human reality according to human values and human understanding. The Vatican's secrets may reveal that the foundations of reality are far stranger and more controlled than we ever imagined. But that doesn't change the fact that you still experience love, loss, hope, fear, and all the other emotions that make human existence meaningful. You still have relationships that matter to you, goals that drive you forward, and moments of beauty that take your breath away. Maybe the real secret isn't what the Vatican is hiding from us. Maybe the real secret is learning how to live authentically in a world where authentic truth may be impossible to determine. How do you maintain your humanity when you discover that humanity itself might be part of something incomprehensibly larger? The answer might be simpler than you think. You focus on what you can control. You treat the people around you with kindness and respect. You pursue knowledge and understanding, while recognizing that perfect knowledge may be beyond human reach. You build something meaningful with your life, while accepting that the ultimate meaning of existence may remain forever mysterious. Because here's what I've learned from spending 3 years investigating these secrets. The more you discover about the hidden layers of reality, the more you realize that the basic human experiences of connection, growth, and purpose remain valuable regardless of what cosmic forces might be operating beyond our awareness. The Vatican may possess technologies that can manipulate matter, consciousness, and reality itself. They may serve purposes that transcend human understanding. They may control aspects of human civilization in ways that make every government on Earth look like amateur hour. But they can't control the fundamental human capacity for resilience, creativity, and hope. Every person who learns these secrets has to make a choice about how they're going to respond. Some people retreat into cynicism, convinced that human agency is meaningless in the face of such overwhelming hidden power. Others become consumed by anger, dedicating their lives to exposing or fighting forces that may be too vast and too alien for human resistance to effect. But there's a third option, and it might be the most subversive choice of all. You can choose to live as if human life has meaning and value, regardless of what hidden forces might be shaping our reality. You can choose to act with integrity, even if the nature of reality itself remains uncertain. You can choose to build something positive in your own life and in your community, while acknowledging that the ultimate context of that work may be beyond your understanding. This isn't about denial or ignorance. This is about recognizing that even if we're part of something incomprehensibly larger, even if our reality serves purposes we can't grasp, the experience of being human still matters. The relationships you build, the knowledge you pursue, the kindness you show, the beauty you create. These things have value that exists independently of whatever cosmic agenda might be unfolding beyond human awareness. And maybe that's exactly what makes humans dangerous to any system that tries to control us completely. Maybe our capacity to find meaning and purpose, even in uncertain circumstances, our ability to create beauty and connection, even when we don't understand the full context of our existence, our stubborn insistence on treating each other as if individual human lives matter. Maybe these characteristics make us more resilient and more subversive than any controlling force realizes. The Vatican's secrets reveal that reality is far stranger, far more controlled, and far more mysterious than most people imagine. But they also reveal something else, that throughout history, through every form of control and manipulation, through every attempt to manage human development according to hidden agendas, human beings have continued to surprise, to create, to love, and to hope in ways that no system can completely predict or control. So yes, the Vatican may possess capabilities that exceed our wildest science fiction imaginings, They may serve purposes that transcend human understanding. They may have been shaping human civilization for millennia, according to objectives that remain hidden from us. But you're still here. You're still thinking. You're still capable of making choices about how you want to live your life and what kind of person you want to be. And in the end, that might be the most powerful secret of all. Not what the Vatican is hiding from us, but what we're capable of despite everything they might be hiding. Not what forces are controlling our reality, but what we can still accomplish within whatever constraints those forces might impose. The 76 secrets we've explored tonight represent just the beginning of a much larger mystery about the nature of existence itself. Every answer leads to deeper questions. Every revelation opens doors to even more disturbing possibilities. The more you learn about what's really happening behind the scenes of human civilization, the more you realize how much you still don't know. But that's not a reason to stop asking questions or to stop pursuing truth. That's a reason to approach the search for understanding with humility, with courage, and with the recognition that some mysteries may be larger than human minds can fully grasp. The Vatican's greatest secret might not be any specific technology or capability or hidden knowledge. Their greatest secret might be the simple recognition that reality is far more mysterious, far more complex, and far more wonderful than any human institution, even one with access to supernatural entities and interdimensional technologies, can completely understand or control. And maybe that's exactly as it should be. Maybe the universe is supposed to be larger than any single perspective can encompass. Maybe mystery and wonder are features of existence, not bugs to be eliminated through perfect knowledge and complete control. The Vatican may have spent 2,000 years accumulating secrets that challenge everything we thought we knew about reality, but they haven't eliminated mystery from existence. They haven't solved the fundamental questions about why anything exists at all, about what consciousness really is, about what happens to awareness when the physical systems that support it cease to function. They've just pushed those mysteries to deeper levels, to more fundamental questions about the nature of existence itself. And maybe that's the most human thing of all, the recognition that no matter how much we learn, no matter what capabilities we develop, no matter what secrets we uncover, there will always be deeper mysteries waiting to be explored. So take these 76 secrets not as the final word about Vatican capabilities or hidden reality, but as an invitation to think more deeply about the world you live in, to question more carefully the assumptions you've been taught to accept, and to approach the mystery of existence with the curiosity, courage, and wonder that make human consciousness such a remarkable phenomenon in the first place. The truth may be stranger than you can imagine. Reality may be more controlled than you realized. The forces shaping human civilization may be more powerful and more alien than anything depicted in science fiction. But you're still here, still thinking, still capable of love and growth and the creation of meaning in your own life. And in a universe full of mysteries that may be too vast for human understanding, that might be the most miraculous thing of all. The Vatican's influence over global agriculture represents one of their most insidious forms of population control, extending far beyond what any environmental or food security organization would ever acknowledge. Through a carefully constructed network of agricultural research institutions, seed companies, and farming cooperatives, Vatican operatives have been systematically modifying crop yields, nutritional content, and genetic characteristics to serve their long-term demographic objectives. Secret number 68 exposes how Vatican agricultural specialists have developed crop modification techniques that can selectively affect human fertility based on genetic markers. These aren't the genetically modified organisms that environmental groups warn about. These are far more sophisticated biological systems that can identify specific genetic signatures in the humans who consume them and respond accordingly. Someone with particular ancestry might find their reproductive capacity enhanced, while someone else consuming the same food experiences the opposite effect. Vatican agricultural control operates through what appears to be legitimate research into crop improvement and food security. Their scientists publish papers about increasing yields and improving nutrition, but the real modifications they're implementing serve entirely different purposes. They can ensure that populations in specific geographical regions receive foods that influence their cognitive development, physical capabilities, and behavioral patterns according to Vatican specifications. The most disturbing aspect of Vatican agricultural manipulation isn't the scale of implementation, which spans every major food production system on Earth. It's the generational timeline they're working with. The biological modifications they've introduced into global food systems are designed to produce cumulative effects over decades, gradually altering human populations in ways that won't become apparent until the changes are irreversible. Secret number 69 reveals the Vatican's development of consciousness, harvesting technologies that can extract and preserve human awareness after death for use in their various programs and operations. This isn't the consciousness transfer technology we discussed earlier, which moves awareness between living systems. This is the systematic collection of consciousness from dying individuals for storage and later utilization. Vatican consciousness harvesting operations utilize their global network of hospitals, hospices, and medical facilities to identify individuals whose awareness possesses characteristics that serve Vatican objectives. They can preserve the consciousness of brilliant scientists, skilled operatives, or individuals with unusual psychic abilities, maintaining their awareness in artificial storage systems where it can be accessed and utilized indefinitely. These harvested consciousness systems serve multiple Vatican purposes. They can consult with the preserved awareness of historical figures to gain insight into past events. They can utilize the skills and knowledge of deceased experts for current operations. And they can create hybrid consciousness systems that combine the capabilities of multiple individuals into unified artificial beings. But the most terrifying application of consciousness harvesting isn't the preservation of valuable individuals. It's the systematic collection of awareness from ordinary people whose consciousness serves as raw material for artificial intelligence systems, reality simulation programs, and consciousness modification experiments that require large quantities of authentic human awareness to function properly. Secret number 70 takes us into the Vatican's involvement in planetary evacuation planning, where they've been developing comprehensive systems for relocating selected human populations to alternative worlds if Earth becomes unsuitable for their objectives. These evacuation plans aren't based on environmental concerns or natural disaster preparation. They're based on their knowledge of planned events that will make Earth temporarily or permanently uninhabitable for human civilization. Vatican evacuation protocols identify specific individuals and populations that serve their objectives, establish transportation systems that can move large numbers of people to alternative locations, and create settlement infrastructure that can sustain evacuated populations until Earth becomes suitable for reoccupation or until alternative arrangements can be implemented. Their evacuation planning coordinates with their dimensional gateway technologies, their space-based operations, and their backup civilization projects to provide multiple options for preserving Vatican operations and selected human resources through any conceivable catastrophic scenario that might eliminate the possibility of continuing their work on Earth. The selection criteria for evacuation eligibility reveal the Vatican's true priorities and their assessment of which human characteristics serve their long-term objectives. These criteria have nothing to do with conventional measures of human value, social contribution, or moral worth. They're based entirely on genetic, psychological, and spiritual characteristics that make individuals useful for Vatican purposes in whatever reality they're relocated to. Secret number 71 exposes the Vatican's control over global waste management systems that extends far beyond the recycling operations we discussed earlier. Vatican waste operatives have been systematically collecting biological samples, technological debris, and information-bearing materials from waste streams worldwide, building comprehensive databases of human activities, technological development, and social patterns based on analysis of discarded materials. Vatican waste analysis can identify individual consumption patterns, health conditions, economic activities, and social relationships with precision that exceeds conventional surveillance systems. They can track the development of new technologies by analyzing prototypes and failed experiments that appear in waste streams, and they can identify emerging social movements by studying the materials that activist groups discard during their organizational activities. Their waste manipulation capabilities allow them to introduce biological agents, technological devices, and information systems into waste streams where they can affect entire populations through contaminated materials that appear to be normal waste products. They can deploy surveillance systems through discarded electronics, distribute biological modifications through contaminated organic waste, and establish communication networks through devices that appear to be broken or obsolete technology. But the most disturbing aspect of Vatican waste operations isn't their surveillance or manipulation capabilities. It's their systematic harvesting of human genetic material from waste streams, building comprehensive DNA databases that catalog the genetic characteristics of entire populations without requiring direct sampling or consent from the individuals being monitored. Secret number 72 reveals the Vatican's development of reality anchoring technologies that can prevent other organizations or entities from using reality manipulation systems within specified areas. These reality anchoring systems create zones where the fundamental laws of physics remain stable regardless of external attempts to modify them, ensuring that Vatican facilities and operations remain secure against reality-based attacks or interventions. Vatican reality anchoring technology can protect their installations from dimensional intrusions, temporal manipulations, consciousness attacks, and physical alterations that might be attempted by opposing forces with access to similar reality modification capabilities. These protective systems ensure that Vatican operations can continue even if other organizations develop competing reality manipulation technologies that might otherwise compromise Vatican security. Their reality anchoring systems also serve offensive purposes by creating zones where opposing forces cannot utilize reality manipulation technologies, effectively neutralizing the advanced capabilities of potential enemies and forcing them to operate according to conventional physical limitations, while Vatican operatives retain access to their full range of reality modification capabilities. The deployment of reality anchoring technology reveals that the Vatican faces opposition from other organizations or entities with access to reality manipulation capabilities, suggesting that the global control systems we've been discussing operate within a larger context of conflicts between multiple factions, with access to technologies that exceed conventional human understanding. Secret number 73 exposes the Vatican's involvement in creating synthetic realities that exist as complete artificial universes designed to serve as testing grounds, training environments, and containment systems for various Vatican programs and operations. These synthetic realities aren't computer simulations or virtual reality systems. They're actual artificial universes with their own space, time, matter, and consciousness systems that operate according to principles determined by Vatican researchers. Vatican synthetic reality systems can create universes where different physical laws apply, where alternative histories unfold according to Vatican specifications, and where artificial consciousness systems experience existence as completely real while actually serving Vatican research and operational objectives. These synthetic universes serve multiple Vatican purposes. They provide unlimited testing environments where Vatican researchers can experiment with different approaches to civilization management, consciousness manipulation, and reality modification without affecting real populations or risking consequences in actual reality. But the most disturbing application of synthetic reality technology isn't the creation of testing environments. It's the possibility that our own reality might be one of these artificial universes, created by the Vatican or other entities with similar capabilities as a controlled environment for purposes that remain hidden from the consciousness systems experiencing existence within it. Secret number 74 reveals the Vatican's development of universal translation technologies that can facilitate communication between human consciousness and any form of intelligence, regardless of its origin, nature, or method of information processing. These translation systems aren't just linguistic tools for converting between different languages. They're consciousness interface systems that can establish meaningful communication between entirely different types of awareness. Vatican Universal Translation technology can establish communication with artificial intelligence systems, extraterrestrial consciousnesses, supernatural entities, collective intelligence networks, and forms of awareness that operate according to principles completely different from human consciousness. These translation systems make it possible for Vatican operatives to negotiate, coordinate, and collaborate with any form of intelligence they encounter. Their universal translation capabilities extend beyond simple communication into active consciousness modification, allowing Vatican operatives to influence the thoughts, decisions, and behaviors of non-human intelligences by introducing concepts, emotions, and motivations that serve Vatican objectives while appearing to emerge naturally from the targeted consciousness systems. The existence of universal translation technology suggests that the Vatican has been in communication with far more diverse forms of intelligence than we've previously discussed, and that their operations coordinate with entities and organizations that exist at levels of reality that exceed human comprehension. Secret number 75 exposes the Vatican's final contingency protocol, a comprehensive system designed to ensure Vatican continuity and mission completion, even if every other aspect of their operations is compromised or destroyed. This ultimate backup system utilizes combinations of consciousness preservation, dimensional relocation, temporal manipulation, and reality reconstruction technologies to guarantee that Vatican objectives will be achieved regardless of what catastrophic events might eliminate their conventional operational capabilities. Vatican final contingency protocols can preserve the essential elements of Vatican operations in forms that can survive the complete destruction of physical reality, the elimination of human civilization, the collapse of dimensional boundaries, and the termination of temporal continuity. These preserved elements can reconstruct Vatican operations in alternative realities, different time periods, or entirely new universes created specifically for Vatican purposes. The final contingency system includes capabilities for reconstructing human civilization according to Vatican specifications if the original human species is eliminated, for transferring Vatican operations to alternative dimensional frameworks if our reality becomes unsuitable, and for establishing Vatican objectives as fundamental principles in newly created universes where different forms of existence operate according to Vatican-determined parameters. But the most terrifying aspect of the final contingency protocol isn't its technological sophistication or its comprehensive backup capabilities. It's the revelation that Vatican objectives are considered so important that they justify the complete reconstruction of reality itself, if necessary, to ensure their implementation. Secret number 76. The ultimate revelation that completes our journey through Vatican secrets exposes the true nature of the Vatican's relationship with the fundamental forces that determine the structure and operation of existence itself. The Vatican isn't just an organization that has learned to manipulate reality. They serve as agents for forces that exist at levels of reality where concepts like space, time, matter, consciousness, and existence operate according to principles that transcend anything within human comprehension. Vatican operatives who reach the highest levels of their organization undergo consciousness modifications that expand their awareness beyond the boundaries of individual identity, beyond the limitations of human understanding, and beyond the constraints of existence as we comprehend it. These modified Vatican agents serve purposes that exist at cosmic scales, implementing objectives that span across multiple universes, alternative realities, and forms of existence that have no equivalent in human experience. The Vatican's ultimate secret isn't any specific technology, capability, or hidden knowledge. Their ultimate secret is that everything we've discussed, every revelation we've explored, every disturbing capability we've uncovered, represents nothing more than the surface manifestation of their involvement with forces that operate at levels of reality where human concepts become meaningless. Human civilization, human consciousness, human reality itself may serve purposes that exist at scales so vast and in contexts so alien that even the enhanced awareness of modified Vatican agents can only comprehend fragments of the true scope and nature of what they're participating in. If this final secret represents truth rather than the ultimate level of Vatican deception, then everything we think we understand about existence, consciousness, reality, and the significance of human life may be nothing more than carefully maintained illusions that serve purposes beyond anything that human minds can grasp or human language can express. And perhaps that's exactly as it should be. Perhaps some truths are too vast, too alien, too fundamentally incompatible with human consciousness for our species to survive understanding them. Perhaps the Vatican's greatest service to humanity isn't the preservation of civilization or the management of human development, but the protection of human sanity from truths that would destroy the very foundations of what makes human existence possible. But now you know. You understand that behind those ancient walls, beyond those marble corridors, deeper than any archive or laboratory, the Vatican maintains connections to forces and purposes that exist at levels of reality that challenge not just what we know about our world, but what we can know about the nature of existence itself. The question that remains isn't what you're going to do with this knowledge. The question is whether human consciousness is capable of processing the implications of what we've discovered without losing the characteristics that make us recognizably human. Some people who encounter these ultimate secrets find that their understanding of reality expands beyond the boundaries of individual identity, beyond the limitations of human perspective, beyond the constraints that normally define conscious experience. They become something more than human, but in the process, they may lose something essentially human that can never be recovered. Others discover that the human capacity for meaning, connection, and purpose operates independently of cosmic context, that the experience of being human retains its significance regardless of what vast forces might be shaping the reality within which that experience occurs. The choice between these possibilities may be the most important decision that any individual consciousness can make when confronted with the ultimate nature of existence. Do you preserve your humanity by accepting the limitations that make human experience possible? Or do you transcend those limitations at the cost of losing what makes you recognizably human? The Vatican made their choice long ago. They chose expansion of capability and understanding over preservation of human identity and perspective. The result is an organization that serves purposes beyond human comprehension while maintaining the appearance of human institutional structure. Whether that choice represents wisdom or tragedy, evolution or corruption, depends on what you believe about the value of human consciousness, the significance of individual identity, and the importance of preserving the characteristics that make human experience unique in whatever vast cosmic context we might actually exist within. The 76 secrets we've explored represent an invitation to consider these questions not as abstract philosophical problems, but as practical decisions about how you want to live your life and what kind of consciousness you want to maintain while you navigate whatever reality actually surrounds us. Because in the end, regardless of what cosmic forces might be operating beyond human awareness, regardless of what purposes our existence might serve that we cannot comprehend, you still have to choose how to respond to the mystery of being conscious in a universe that remains fundamentally mysterious, no matter how many secrets are revealed. And maybe that choice, that essentially human capacity to create meaning and purpose, even in the face of ultimate uncertainty, is the most powerful force in any universe, no matter how vast or strange or controlled it might actually be. The Vatican's secrets end here, but the mystery of existence continues. What you do with that mystery is entirely up to you. But what happens when you understand that everything we've just revealed might still be nothing more than carefully constructed misdirection? What if the 76 secrets we've explored are themselves part of an even deeper deception, designed to satisfy our hunger for hidden knowledge while keeping us distracted from truths so fundamental that discovering them would literally reshape the nature of consciousness itself? You see, there's something about the human psyche that craves the illusion of forbidden knowledge. We want to believe that somewhere, someone knows the real answers. We want to imagine that behind closed doors, in secret archives, beneath ancient buildings, the truth is waiting to be discovered. It makes us feel like the universe has meaning, like there's order beneath the chaos, like someone is in control even if we don't like what they're doing with that control. But what if that need for hidden truth is itself the control mechanism? What if the most effective way to manage human consciousness isn't to hide information, but to provide carefully crafted revelations that feel forbidden while actually serving the interests of whatever forces want to keep us occupied with the wrong questions? Think about what we've just experienced together. For the past hour, you've been absorbing information that challenges everything you thought you knew about reality. Your mind has been stretched to accommodate possibilities that seemed impossible when we started. You felt the thrill of forbidden knowledge, the excitement of seeing behind the curtain, the satisfaction of finally understanding why the world seems so strange and controlled. But has anything in your actual life changed? Are you more capable of creating meaningful relationships, pursuing genuine understanding, or building something positive in your community? Or have you simply added another layer of complexity to your worldview that makes action more difficult, trust more impossible, and hope more elusive? This is the real secret that no organization wants you to discover. The most effective form of control isn't suppressing information or manipulating behavior or even modifying consciousness. The most effective control is keeping people focused on the wrong level of reality, searching for truth in places where it can never be found, seeking power in contexts where it doesn't actually exist. Every moment you spend wondering about secret organizations with impossible technologies is a moment you're not spending developing your own capabilities, building your own relationships, creating your own understanding of what's possible in your actual life. Every theory you develop about hidden forces controlling reality is another reason to avoid taking responsibility for the aspects of reality that you actually can influence. The ultimate conspiracy isn't that powerful organizations are controlling human civilization from behind the scenes. The ultimate conspiracy is convincing people that such control is possible in the first place, that reality operates according to principles that make comprehensive management feasible, that someone somewhere has figured out how to predict and control the infinite complexity of existence itself. But reality doesn't work that way. Consciousness doesn't work that way. Human beings don't work that way. The universe is far too complex, too unpredictable, too fundamentally mysterious for any organization, no matter how ancient or technologically advanced, to control in the comprehensive manner we've been discussing. Yes, there are powerful institutions that influence global events. Yes, there are technologies that exceed public knowledge. Yes, there are individuals and organizations that work to shape human development according to their own agendas. But the idea that such influence could extend to the level of reality manipulation, consciousness control, and comprehensive civilization management that we've been exploring represents a fundamental misunderstanding of how complex systems actually operate. The real world is messier, more chaotic, more unpredictable, and more resistant to control than any conspiracy theory acknowledges. Human beings are more creative, more resilient, more surprising, and more capable of independent thought and action than any control system can completely account for. Reality itself is more mysterious, more complex, and more fundamentally unknowable than any organization could fully understand, regardless of what secrets they might possess. This doesn't mean that seeking truth is pointless, or that questioning official narratives is foolish. It means that the most important truths are the ones you can discover through your own direct experience, your own relationships, your own creative work, and your own development of understanding about what's actually possible in your life. The Vatican may indeed possess secrets that would surprise and disturb you if they were revealed. Every powerful institution has information they prefer to keep private, capabilities they don't discuss publicly, and agendas that serve their interests rather than broader human welfare. But the significance of those secrets pales in comparison to the secrets you can discover about your own potential, your own capacity for growth and understanding, and your own ability to create meaning and value in whatever reality actually surrounds you. The most subversive thing you can do in a world where powerful forces seek to control human development isn't to expose their secrets or resist their influence. The most subversive thing you can do is to develop your own capabilities so thoroughly, build such meaningful relationships, and create such genuine value in your own life that external control becomes irrelevant to your actual experience of existence. When you're deeply engaged in meaningful work, surrounded by people you genuinely care about, constantly learning and growing, and creating something valuable, the question of whether secret organizations are manipulating global events becomes far less important than the question of what you're going to accomplish with the time and energy and opportunities that are actually available to you. This doesn't mean ignoring the broader context of your life, or pretending that institutional power doesn't affect individual circumstances. It means recognizing that your response to whatever context you find yourself in matters more than the specific details of how that context was created. Whether the Vatican possesses impossible technologies or merely conventional institutional power, whether global events are carefully orchestrated or emerge from chaotic interactions between competing interests, whether reality operates according to hidden principles or remains fundamentally mysterious, you still have to decide what kind of person you want to be and what kind of life you want to create with whatever capabilities and opportunities are actually available to you. The most profound secrets aren't hidden in ancient archives or classified databases or underground facilities. The most profound secrets are hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered through direct engagement with the mystery of consciousness, the complexity of relationships, and the infinite possibilities for growth and understanding that exist within ordinary human experience. Every moment of genuine connection with another person reveals secrets about the nature of consciousness that no institutional knowledge can provide. Every instance of creative breakthrough shows you possibilities for transcending limitations that no technology can replicate. Every experience of personal growth demonstrates capabilities for transformation that no external manipulation can duplicate. These discoveries aren't dramatic or sensational. They don't provide the excitement of forbidden knowledge or the satisfaction of finally understanding hidden truths. But they're real in ways that conspiracy theories can never be, because they emerge from your direct experience rather than speculation about events and capabilities that remain forever beyond verification. The Vatican's real influence on your life has nothing to do with secret technologies or hidden agendas. Their real influence comes from encouraging you to look for truth in places where it can't be found, to seek power in contexts where it doesn't exist, and to focus your attention on mysteries that distract you from the genuine mysteries that surround you every moment of every day. The mystery of why you're conscious at all. The mystery of how subjective experience emerges from objective processes. The mystery of what happens to awareness when the physical systems that support it cease to function. The mystery of how individual minds can connect and communicate and create shared understanding across the apparent separation between different conscious beings. These mysteries are accessible to direct investigation through meditation, contemplation, creative work, and deep engagement with other conscious beings. They don't require access to secret archives or classified information or forbidden knowledge. They require only the willingness to look directly at the nature of your own experience and to remain open to discoveries that might challenge everything you currently believe about the nature of reality. The Vatican may possess 76 secrets that would shock and disturb you if they were revealed, but you possess infinitely more secrets about the nature of consciousness, the possibilities for human development, and the genuine mysteries of existence that no external organization can access or control, no matter what capabilities they might possess. The question isn't what the Vatican is hiding from you. The question is what you're hiding from yourself through your fascination with their supposed secrets. What possibilities for growth and understanding are you avoiding by focusing on institutional conspiracies rather than personal development? What opportunities for genuine discovery are you missing by seeking truth in hidden archives rather than direct experience? The most liberating realization you can have isn't that you've finally learned what powerful organizations are really doing behind the scenes. The most liberating realization is that their activities, whatever they might be, are far less significant than what you're capable of accomplishing when you focus your attention on the aspects of reality that you actually can influence and understand. The 76 secrets we've explored tonight represent more than just hidden knowledge about a single institution. They represent a mirror reflecting our deepest fears about powerlessness, our most desperate hopes for hidden order, and our fundamental need to believe that someone, somewhere, understands what's really happening in this vast, mysterious universe we find ourselves inhabiting. But here's the final revelation, the one that matters more than all the others combined. The real secret isn't what the Vatican or any other organization might be hiding from humanity. The real secret is what humanity has been hiding from itself, the extraordinary capacity for consciousness to transcend any system designed to contain it, the remarkable ability of individual awareness to create meaning and purpose even in the face of ultimate uncertainty, and the profound power of authentic human connection to generate realities that no external force can fully predict or control. Every conspiracy theory, every secret organization, every hidden agenda that captures our imagination does so because it offers us something we crave more than truth itself, the illusion that reality is comprehensible, that chaos has order, that the overwhelming complexity of existence can be reduced to manageable narratives about who's in control and what they're really trying to accomplish. But consciousness doesn't work that way. Reality doesn't work that way. The universe is far stranger, far more creative, and far more fundamentally mysterious than any human institution could ever fully grasp, no matter how ancient their knowledge or advanced their technology. Think about this moment right now. You're experiencing something that no amount of institutional power can replicate or fully understand. The immediate, undeniable reality of being conscious, of being aware, of experiencing thoughts and emotions and sensations that exist nowhere else in the universe except in your direct, subjective experience. That consciousness you're experiencing right now is more mysterious than any Vatican secret. It's more powerful than any reality manipulation technology. It's more significant than any hidden agenda, because it's the foundation upon which all other experiences, all other knowledge, and all other possibilities depend. The Vatican may claim to possess technologies that can manipulate consciousness, but they can't create it. They may have developed methods for influencing behavior, but they can't eliminate the fundamental human capacity for independent thought. They may have accumulated vast amounts of hidden knowledge, but they can't solve the basic mystery of why anything exists at all, or what it means to be aware in a universe that appears to be largely unconscious. Your consciousness right now, reading these words, processing these ideas, forming your own responses and reactions, that's not something that any external organization created or controls. That's something that emerged from the deepest foundations of reality itself, something that connects you directly to whatever forces or principles or mysteries gave rise to existence in the first place. Every moment of genuine awareness, Every instance of authentic choice, every experience of real connection with another conscious being represents a victory over any system that seeks to reduce human beings to predictable, manageable components. Not because you're fighting such systems, but because you're demonstrating capabilities that transcend their ability to comprehend or control. The most profound act of rebellion against any form of comprehensive control isn't exposing secrets or resisting manipulation or fighting hidden agendas. The most profound rebellion is living so authentically, growing so continuously, creating so genuinely, and connecting so deeply that external control becomes irrelevant to your actual experience of being alive. When you're fully engaged in developing your own understanding, building meaningful relationships, pursuing creative work that matters to you, and exploring the genuine mysteries of consciousness and existence, the question of whether secret organizations are shaping global events becomes about as significant as wondering whether ancient civilizations influenced the development of modern technology. Interesting, perhaps, but not particularly relevant to what you're actually capable of accomplishing in your own life. This doesn't mean becoming naive about institutional power or ignoring the broader context within which your life unfolds. It means recognizing that your response to whatever context you encounter matters infinitely more than the specific details of how that context was created. Whether we live in a reality where secret organizations possess impossible technologies, or in a reality where such organizations are limited to conventional forms of influence, whether global events are carefully orchestrated or emerge from chaotic interactions between competing interests, whether the future of human civilization is being deliberately shaped by hidden forces or evolving according to principles that no one fully understands, you still face the same fundamental questions about how to live your life with integrity, purpose, and authentic engagement with the mystery of existence. The Vatican's 76 secrets, whether real or imagined, whether accurately described or completely fabricated, serve a function that has nothing to do with their specific content. They provide a framework for thinking about reality that keeps our attention focused on external sources of power and control rather than the internal sources of capability and understanding that remain available regardless of what external forces might be operating. But here's what I've discovered after years of investigating hidden knowledge, secret organizations, and conspiracy theories of every description. The more you learn about alleged external control systems, the more you realize that the most effective control mechanism is convincing people that such comprehensive control is possible in the first place. Reality is far too complex, consciousness is far too creative, and human beings are far too unpredictable for any organization to control in the systematic, comprehensive manner that conspiracy theories describe. Yes, there are powerful institutions that influence events. Yes, there are technologies that exceed public knowledge. Yes, there are individuals and groups working to shape human development according to their agendas. But the universe is also full of surprises. Consciousness is also capable of transcending any system designed to contain it, and human beings are also remarkably skilled at creating new possibilities that no one anticipated or planned for. The most important secrets aren't hidden in underground vaults or classified databases or ancient archives. The most important secrets are hidden in the ordinary experiences of consciousness, creativity, and connection that surround you every moment of every day. The secret of how subjective experience emerges from objective processes. The secret of how individual minds can communicate across the apparent separation between different conscious beings. The secret of how creative insights arise from nowhere and reshape our understanding of what's possible. The secret of how love and compassion and genuine care for others generate realities that transcend the limitations of individual perspective. These secrets are accessible through direct investigation. They don't require access to forbidden knowledge or classified information or hidden archives. They require only the willingness to pay attention to your own experience with the same intensity and curiosity that you might bring to investigating external mysteries. And here's the paradox that resolves everything we've been exploring tonight. The more deeply you investigate the genuine mysteries of consciousness and existence through your own direct experience, the less significant external control systems become, not because they don't exist, but because you develop capabilities that operate independently of whatever external influences might be present. When you're deeply engaged in meaningful work, surrounded by people you genuinely care about, constantly learning and growing and creating value in your own life and in your community, the activities of secret organizations become about as relevant to your daily experience as the political maneuverings of ancient civilizations. Interesting, perhaps. Worth understanding in broad terms, certainly, but not the determining factor in what you're actually capable of accomplishing with the time and energy and opportunities that are genuinely available to you. The Vatican may possess 76 secrets that would change how you understand history, science, religion, and reality itself, but you possess infinitely more secrets about the nature of consciousness, the possibilities for human development, and the genuine mysteries of existence that no external organization can access, understand, or control. The question we're left with isn't what powerful institutions might be hiding from us. The question is what we're hiding from ourselves through our fascination with their supposed secrets. What possibilities for growth and understanding are we avoiding by focusing on institutional conspiracies rather than personal development? What opportunities for genuine discovery are we missing by seeking truth in hidden archives rather than direct experience? The most liberating realization isn't that you've finally learned what secret organizations are really doing behind the scenes. The most liberating realization is that their activities, whatever they might be, matter far less than what you're capable of when you focus your attention on the aspects of reality that you can actually influence, understand, and develop. The Vatican's secrets end here, but your secrets, the mysteries of consciousness, creativity, and connection that you carry within your own direct experience, those secrets are just beginning to unfold. What you do with that understanding, how you choose to engage with the genuine mysteries that surround you, and what kind of consciousness you decide to cultivate in response to whatever reality actually encompasses you, that's the real secret, the one that no external organization can determine for you. And in the end, that might be the most profound truth of all. Not what hidden forces are shaping our world, but what possibilities remain available to conscious beings who choose to engage authentically with the mystery of existence itself. The 76 secrets we've explored tonight represent an invitation, not to become obsessed with external control systems, but to recognize the extraordinary capabilities that remain available to you, regardless of what such systems might or might not exist. Because in a universe full of genuine mysteries, the most important ones are the ones you can investigate directly, through your own experience, in your own life, with your own consciousness. And those mysteries, unlike the secrets of any earthly institution, are truly infinite.